And Donald Trump, he better check his rearview mirror tonight. There is news that Dr. Ben Carson is now only 1 point behind Trump. A new NBC News Wall Street Journal national poll finding 21% of GOP voters picked the billionaire businessman and 20% picked Dr. Ben Carson. Now you compare that to July when Trump led with 19% and Carson sat in 4th place. He had only 10%. The On the Record political panel is here from the National Review, DeRoy Murdoch, and former New York Times reporter Alex Berenson. DeRoy, first to you. What do you think Donald Trump's thinking tonight?
Well, I'll try to say something intelligent about this, which I might find difficult. I found this whole campaign absolutely has left me almost speechless. I mean, back in Labor Day, or Memorial Day rather, you had Scott Walker leading the race. He's now dropped out. You've got Jeb Bush with his family pedigree and $140 million, and he's struggling in about 5th place. And now you've got a very quiet surgeon and a very loud real estate developer making their first runs for political office ever. And now it looks like the surgeon is neck and neck with the real estate developer. So I think it's really amazing. And who knows what's going to happen next. I think this is the most, again, unpredictable campaign I've ever seen in my life.
Alex?
I will steal a line that I used last time I was on with you, which is that as a novelist, you couldn't make this up. This is great. I think it is interesting for people. I think people are focused on the campaign in a way that they haven't been in a long time. Or, you know, that they typically wouldn't be at this stage more than a year before the election, which is probably a good thing. But that said, and I'm a political independent, I'm not a Republican. If I were a Republican, I would be terrified.
Why?
Because neither of these guys can win.
Well, I mean, but see, you know, that's what everyone says. Ever since 2008, when we all thought that the nominee, or 2007 going date, was going to be Secretary Hillary Clinton, I'm not willing to bet on anybody or bet against anybody.
I agree. It's very early. But the presumptive Republican standard bearer was Jeb Bush, and he's at 7%. And, you know, that smells like a death spiral to me. I think Carly Fiorina might be able to win. I think Kasich might be able to win. But the two guys at the top, Hillary would smoke them.
I don't know. I disagree with that. I mean, I think that I've seen polls where Trump is 2 or 3 points behind her. I remember when he first declared, everyone said, oh, this is a joke. It's just he'll laugh it off after a week. And then they said as soon as he has to unveil his finances, he'll decide not to. And then, well, he'll be around through the first debate. And the guy has stayed ahead. He's still on top. And I wouldn't count him out at all.
He is, but he's lost, he's lost that 10-point lead, right?
I think it's significant that they're both outsiders. I think there's a little bit of throw the bum out, anybody who's held office. And, you know, you never know where that's going to go. But we got a long way to go. But let me ask you about this. As Donald Trump's near meteoric rise in the polls has begun to slow down, people are demanding to hear how the billionaire businessman will make America great again. And today, the Donald unveiled his new tax plan, Trump vowing to slash taxes for not just the poor, but also the wealthy.
Too few Americans are working, too many jobs are being shipped overseas, and too many middle-income families cannot make ends meet. This plan directly meets these challenges and the challenges also of business. It will provide major tax relief for middle income and for most other Americans. There will be a major tax reduction.
Let me go first to you, Alex. I think many Americans are hearing reduced number of tax brackets from 7 to 4, 0 rate for individuals less than $25,000 or $50,000 for a couple, and the top rate 25%. I think Americans like to hear that kind of stuff.
Everybody wants lower taxes, but on this, I think the Republicans have it backwards, and they've had it backwards really ever since George W. You have to say what you're going to cut. Say that first. Otherwise, people do not believe. I mean, not tax rates. I mean, what federal programs you're going to cut. Because George W. lowered taxes, and all he did was increase the deficit, and then Obama had to increase them again.
I suspect, I don't know, and they haven't scored this thing yet, but I assume that in part, Donald Trump isn't here to speak for himself, but I assume in part, DeRoy, that he says that when you bring money back from overseas, that many of these corporations have been stashing overseas to avoid taxes, essentially, that I think he assumes that that money is somehow going to help make this more revenue neutral.
I think that money would help. We've got about $2 or $3 trillion sitting overseas waiting to come back home as soon as the taxes are lowered. And if you're going to have the corporate rate drop from 35 to 15, that becomes a lot more attractive. The simplification is a very good thing. The end of the death tax is a very good thing. I do believe there is a big problem here, which is getting 50% of the public off the tax rolls, because what happens is basically people who don't pay taxes vote for other people to vote for goodies that are paid for by the other half that pays taxes, and that's a dangerous equation. Everybody should have skin in the game. It should be a low rate, I'd say about 10%, but if you have half the people not paying taxes, then it makes it easy for people just to vote for all sorts of stuff paid for by taxpayers to benefit non-taxpayers.
DeRoy, Alex, thank you both very much.
Thank you.